Welcome back to the Young Shakespeare podcast. Today, I have the privilege of being joined by two members of the Dover-Sherborn varsity golf team, Mr. Owen Bingham and Mr. Jack Potter. Thanks so much for coming on the show, guys.
Thank you, Danny. We appreciate it very much. It's been a long time coming. I've just been waiting to get on here, but it is great to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, Danny, I've really enjoyed the podcast. I'm looking forward to it today.
Yeah, awesome. Always good to have a friend of the show on. These guys just won, South Sherborn gang too. So many good athletes out of South Sherborn.
Yep.
So you guys just won the D3 Central Sectional Finals in golf. DS Golf has been amazing lately, and I want to hear all about it. First, actually, Jack, why are you sending out scams to people's Instagram accounts?
Yeah, all right.
Clear the air on this.
Yeah, this is great. This is perfect.
You could write your current event summary on this.
I really could, yeah.
Well, anyways, this all started actually on, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday. I got a DM from my younger brother, Charlie, and it said, I've worked so hard on this. It's taken me 2 hours to check it out. And then this link, and I was like, oh, okay. Maybe he worked hard on some video or something. So I click it, enter my password, and he's like, it's going to send to all your contacts. And I was like, okay, it'll be fine. And then today at around 11 a.m., I get a notification saying some random guy from Moscow has logged into my account. And for some reason, I just kind of ignored it. And now, that message has been sent to probably 700 people.
Jesus. So I got one this morning. It said, I thought it was something because I know, like you just said, you watched the podcast. It said something like, Danny, I've worked on this for 2 hours. I really hope you like it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's nice. I said, well, this is kind of a weird thing to click on. And then it had me enter my password.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, this looks weird, but all right. I mean, Jack said he worked really hard on it. So I entered my password, and thankfully, I'm so dumb that I forgot what my password was, and I typed in the wrong password, and then it tried to have me download this VPN app. So I was like, okay, this is a scam. Then I reached out to Jack, and I was like, okay, I'm glad I entered the wrong password.
Well, actually, Danny, I entered my real password.
Yeah. We might have round 2 tomorrow. Who knows?
So,
dude, it's just gonna be all these Dover-Sherborn.
So I was like, okay, so the funny thing is, I was sitting right next to Jack, and I just wanted to look at this link because I was like, he just didn't say anything to me, but he DM'd me, and it was the stupid, it was hey, check this thing out. I was like, why would you send me this? And so I clicked on it, and then I went all the way to the end, and I put in my password, and I got the VPN notification, and then I realized, I was like, oh, this is not, it's a scam. And look, in retrospect, should not have. I changed my password immediately after. I'm not sure how good that's gonna, or what that's gonna do.
I think that should work. I think that should work. That guy in Russia will be like, oh, he changed his password on me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So
for sure. So you guys just won the sectional championship, which was really awesome. Tell me how that feeling was. Tell me how it went down.
Danny, it was pretty special feeling. I'm not gonna lie. We were expected to do well, get first or second. Last time I went to sectional, we got second. But this year, we all just scored well. We all just played good golf, and we ended up winning by 25 strokes, I think, over Hopedale, which is they're also on states because top 2 at sectionals go. So they're one of our bigger competitions, but we just crushed them. So feeling pretty good. Coach was really happy. He really needed a win. One of our last matches, we played Millis, and we beat them narrowly because we all we're oh, we don't really give a fuck. It was just not a big match for us, and so we all just played terribly. Our coach was furious, and so then we came back and we won sectionals for him, and he was pretty high, to say the least. That's it.
Absolutely, Jack. How was that championship feeling for you?
It was great. Honestly, it was very freeing because, like Owen mentioned, that week we had before sectionals, which was 2 weeks ago now. We really didn't play that great, and our coach had he put a lot of pressure on us that week, and we really felt like we had to respond.
Yeah.
And we did beat Millis, but obviously we should have beat them by one more. I mean, it's Millis.
Yeah.
And then Hopkinton, playing them at their home course is always tough.
Yeah.
And they're a Division I team as well, so they're tough competition, and we lost that one too. But we felt like we played a little bit better, and we competed, and then we kind of carried that weight into sectionals. And honestly, everyone played really well. Like, we didn't have anyone that blew up.
No, like, and that's what's good about our team is, like, it's not, we don't have one really good player and then 5 really shitty players. It's like we have 6 great guys that can all play really good golf on different days. And that's what makes our team so good, is because we're all like putting in equal effort, as opposed to like certain sports where, you know, people try to like, there's only like a couple really, really good athletes. And then, you know, like they try to like, you know, take the spotlight. It's like, we're all equally pitching in. If Curtis medals during a round, like we're all like excited for him. Like Tim medals, you know, he's a sophomore and he's really good. And so when he medals, it's great. And so I just feel like we kind of all support each other and we all put in the work too.
Yeah.
And so I think our team just like runs deep. And so when we come like to matches, like we can all play well. Like some of us can play good, some of us can play bad, but like at the end of the day, we're just a solid team.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can tell you're putting in the work because you have like a tan for where your glasses are. Is that right?
I know. I get sunburned like every weekend because I don't wear hats in my golf. It's just like a kind of superstition. So I'm like the only guy without a hat, like out of like 100 kids. I look pretty stupid.
Wow. You feel left out? Do you feel left out at all? Not having?
No. It makes me feel like I feel better. I'm built different. You know, like, I'm not gonna conform to wearing. I'm not gonna conform to wearing just hats. Like I'm gonna be the kid without a hat who shoots the best.
And Danny, I'm not sure if you are familiar with this, but Owen is he's notorious for the collar pop.
Oh yeah,
he plays with the collar pop the whole time.
Yeah, dude.
Jack, and the hair slicked back. It's a look.
If you look good, you can play good. So that's a factor on for me, and I think the team. I mean, we had some really good outfits during sectionals, and we just pulled up looking intimidating. Yeah, looking super intimidating.
Intimidating.
Like, up, like Curtis is wearing his like navy like golf pants with like his white belt. I'm wearing my white leather golf shoes. Jack's wearing his like aquatic vest and attire, and we all played well.
Would you be more or less scared of a golfer that showed up to a big tournament in like raggy old jeans? Because in a way you'd be like, what's this guy got going on that he can just rock these jeans? But also maybe that's not proper attire. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, we played a couple teams that weren't too good, and a couple of their players in their final couple groups had jeans on. They were not the best golfers.
No. Oh no.
Honestly, Danny, like
I would be surprised.
It's actually, it's not like you would think, because reverse psychology, you'd be like, oh, the guy who shows up in like a sleeveless is going to be like the best golfer, but actually it's not the case.
Except when you show up in
except I do wear sleevelesses to the range.
Well, not many high school golfers can bench 2 plates the way you do for reps.
But I appreciate that, Dan.
I've seen it. You know, there's a lot of bouncing off the chest.
No. I don't bounce.
He's got the short.
I just have good form. I don't bounce. But that's
called out. Well, I'm glad I got both of you guys. It's like, what does Peter say? You know, feeding 2 birds with 1 scone. Because I was gonna have Jack on after the season and Curtis as well. But then Owen, I was like asking him questions before the Zoom, and he just goes, "Well, yeah, I'm over at the Potters right now." It's like, over at Jack's house. It's like, well, why don't we just do a podcast with Jack too?
Yeah. No, this is great.
You just hanging out. You just watching the Pats.
Yeah, we're just watching some football. We did a little AP Gov project earlier this morning.
Oh, and great. We actually we had to shoot a commercial.
Yeah.
And Ryan Kane is like our president, and he's running for our group. And so we like went to Medfield and shot a commercial. It was a good time.
I got very into character during that. I was Jeff Deal, I think, during my AP Gov class. And I want to get this story right really quick. I need to Google one thing.
AP Gov's a great class. It's a really great
so
class.
we were doing debate. It was me and Kendall Robbins. She was Senator Elizabeth Warren, and she was trying to make a point about like pro-life versus pro-choice. And she said something like, well, what would you do, Representative Deal, if your wife needed to get an abortion or something? And I go, don't bring my Kathy Joe into this.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we also Derek Daly's in our group, and he's a really funny guy.
Oh yeah.
And he's not running, it's Ryan Kane, but Derek, like today he showed up and he had like khakis, a button-down tie, like boat Sperry's, and he had like the coolest sunglasses. He had like these sick like pentagon shaped sunglasses.
Do you guys think that there's a correlation between like median household income in a town and like how good their golf team is? Because I noticed that in lacrosse, like there's a direct correlation, like Concord, Carlisle, Medfield, like
I would
stuff. Lincoln, Sudbury.
So yeah, I think that's like golf is kind of, you know, one of the most prevalent sports that and I think like, you know, skiing costs a lot of money. So because golf requires like, I mean, it's not the most expensive sport. Like I'd say like maybe hockey, hockey really expensive, but
Sailing.
Yeah, sailing. Yeah, I guess. It is. And so you need like tee times, you need golf clubs, golf balls, tees, a bag. You need to be able to like go to a golf course like consistently, which for people that like can't do that because of their like towns or like just income in general, they like will automatically be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing that would come into play as well. What do you think that the biggest misconception is about golf?
I think it's that
There's so many.
that golf
that
golf isn't a sport. Yeah. And
yeah, and I could literally talk about this all day.
Yeah, me too. It's I mean, just like golf is just such a tricky game because if you really think about it, like scientifically, there's so many points where something could go a little bit wrong, and if you're not in unison, like your hips and your arms, and if the club face isn't square, if you're not hitting it at the right angle, like there's all this stuff. If your head's not down, like you have to be thinking of
like, people just don't know that
40 things when you're swinging,
like,
and it's and then there's four different huge aspects of golf that like to be good at all four of them at one time is just it's insanely hard.
Yeah, it's
what are the four aspects?
So I would break it down to like driver and 3-wood, which is like your long bombs off the tee. And then your irons, typically like off the ground, which is like full swings, but just they don't go as far as like a driver would. Yeah. And then your wedges, which is like, that's where you have to be more crafty and you have to have more like finesse with it, which is, that's really tricky. Yeah, that's really tricky. And that's just a lot of,
it's all feel.
Yeah, it's all feel. And then there's putting, obviously, which is like probably the most underrated.
Yeah.
I would say just because it's like you can lose so many strokes if you're not a good putter.
I usually like make the comparison when I hear that, my response is usually if like let's say so for example, let's say we take Johnny and myself. So if I were to go and play football, I would be better than Johnny would be at golf.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
So like I wouldn't be like great at football because I don't play football, I don't train, like, and he would be terrible at golf, like god awful. And so the way he played in golf will be a lot worse than how I would play in football. That's just kind of like to give an example, conceptualize it. That's usually my argument.
Yeah. Tell me about, of those four aspects that Jack just laid out, each one of you guys, what is the strongest part of your game and the weakest part out of those four?
You want to go first?
I'll go first. Now, there's a couple options I'm picking between, but I'm not going to say this one because I know Owen's going to pick it. So I'd say my strongest part of my game are my irons. It wasn't that case for a while, but then I kind of went through like a little swing change, and now it's just like a consistent strike every time, and I know the distances and everything. So you can save a lot of strokes if you're not having to chip because all your iron shots are hitting greens and you're making putts easy. So
right,
yeah, I'd say.
And what's your weak point, Jack?
And driver. I would also say driver sometimes.
I'd say my weak point is just off the tee. Like driver, it's hard to be consistent because Owen and I, we hit the ball probably like top 10 percentile of TVL.
At least.
And like when you're hitting it that hard with that much power, if it goes a little bit left or a little bit right, like it's just gonna go further because it has more energy than someone who doesn't hit it as far. So it can be hard to like control that.
The misses are very penalizing.
Yeah, it can be very hard to control that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Bingham?
Danny, my strengths is my short game. So okay, do you know what that is?
Yeah.
So putting and chipping.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure you knew that.
Hey, listen here. I'm the one asking the questions, Owen.
Sorry, I had to flip the game on that. Sorry. So I've just like over like your golf career, kind of like from where you start, you like swing the club differently. Like just as you grow, as you get stronger, as you change your swing, like, you know, you're always kind of like editing it in some way almost. But for me, short game has just like, it's always stayed the same. Like I like have never changed the way I hit putts or like how I hit chips. So I've been able to practice that, like the same thing without, you know, ever, you know, changing form for my whole life. And so I feel that my like years of playing golf have given me kind of like a leg up against a lot of kids who like recently start playing, who are good players, but like don't have that short game kind of like for example, Jack's grandfather, he like might not be able to hit the bar like nearly as far as we can, but he is so good at putting and chipping, like because he's been doing it for like 60 years. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm my short game is my strength, and I also chip in a lot. So around the greens, like I just have really good luck with those, and I just chipped in like twice this season. And over the summer, we were playing in a tournament, like a charity tournament with one of my friends from Cape Cod, and we got into like, so we were in this like tournament, and we finished the 18th, I think 11 under par, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And there was this group of like financial like investors. I don't know who they were, but it was just like a group of like New York guys, and they came to come and play this, and we were tied with them. And so we had to go to a playoff hole, and we all like hit terrible shots like leading up to the green. And so we had to chip on, and we needed to make par at least to like contend. And so the first guy goes, he hits like a pretty good one. And then I get up, and it's like raining at this point, and one of the guys like who was like watching, he's like, can you hit this in? Like, I want to get out of here because it was like raining. And I hit like a 30-yard chip, and Curtis was behind the pin, and he saw it land, and he like started walking towards it, and like we were all watching it track, and then it went in, and I like threw my club, just like Curtis like came sprinting at me. We just chest bumped, and then I like looked back at Jack, like everyone was going crazy. And like that's kind of like people don't really get that. Like golf is hyping sometimes. Like
what did those guys do when you did that? Right in their face.
They were like, well, so then they played the hole.
Yeah, they were behind us because it was like a
and so they hit the green on their second shot. So like technically they were in a better spot than we were. And so their three guys go, and the fourth guy goes, and he like hits the lip of the cup, but it didn't drop. And they were like, oh no! But then they came up, and like we shook their hands. It was like it was really nice. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. How mental does it get for you guys? I know, Owen, I don't know if you still have a temper, but didn't you used to have a crazy temper?
Well,
aren't you a rage god, Owen? Is that fair?
No, Danny. I've dialed it back quite a bit. I
have a temper too, to be fair.
I mean, back in the day, 8th and 9th grade, I was I don't know why, I just got like really angry. And
like I can picture you turning red and stuff.
Yeah, no, it also started because like we all used to play like Fortnite, and like 3 years ago, and I would just get so mad. And my brother also had this issue as well. We were also he was a raging monster as well. He actually took the controller and smashed it once. Actually, he did that twice.
Charlie's
he had to pay for both, but. No, Danny, I actually have I'm terrible under pressure normally. Like I just like can't I just don't like playing golf under pressure. It's not fun. And especially because like the rounds last like 5 hours and you're like, whereas like
it's mentally very tiring.
Yeah. So you have to like keep that same stamina for like 5 hours, like thinking about every shot and, you know, like still remembering, because like if you mess up on the first hole and card like a double bogey, you have to like, you're like, okay, like we're like, you need to play better now and like pull yourself out of that. And so like at sectionals, I started with a double bogey, which is like a tough start. To like hits you, you're like, dang, like that's not an ideal start. But you just have to like stay calm and just take it one shot at a time. Otherwise, if you're thinking of your score and like, you know, thinking about how bad you played, you need to just think like a goldfish and just erase your memory. I coined that from
like a goldfish.
Yeah. He's like you're a goldfish because goldfishes forget. So
yeah, they also can't play golf though.
No. But mentality wise,
Okay.
Yeah. And so I get really nervous. And I think Jack also does. I mean, everyone does.
The nerves definitely get to me.
And it can affect you like badly.
I don't know. I find it kind of fuels me actually a little bit because it's like I feel like I have to kind of perform like to what I thought I can perform like.
And our coach expects a lot.
But definitely the hardest thing about keeping a good score is like what Owen said. Like when you get off to a bad start, it's really hard to get back in and like get some birdies or just find a way to kind of stay in the battle. It's very hard when you have a double on the first hole.
Yeah. I think to a certain extent you need nerves before competition too, because and if you can't deal with them, it's not helpful. But to really perform at your absolute best, you need some sort of nerves to get your adrenaline going.
I agree.
Then you can be really locked and do super well.
Yeah, I find it gets me way more focused on my game.
I mean, like the bus ride's tough, and you know, putting is tough. But once you get out there, like you can build that momentum up. Like just like one shot at a time. Like if I had a good tee shot, I'm like, okay, let's go. Walk up, hit another good shot. It's like we're building a momentum here. And you can't let a small blip in that just take it all down.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of kids like don't know how to do that because we play 9 holes every day and 18 is a lot different than 9.
Yeah.
And so at sectionals, I think like a lot of kids like hadn't even played 18 holes before. There's one of my group who like said he like this is like second or third time. I think he was from Lowell. Pretty sure he was from Lowell. And so,
yeah. What does the outlook look like right now going into the state championship? Are people sleeping on you guys? Are they saying Dover-Sherborn's the team to beat? Where are you guys projected?
You know, I think we're pretty feared, to be honest. We have put up some crazy low scores, and we have the TBL MVP on our team, that's in itself that's a lot. And then I mean just like the history of being like such a dominant program in the last couple of years, like that really helps too. And we also, as players, we know we can do it because we've beat D1 teams and D2 teams this season. So it's like it feels kind of comfortable to be competing in D3 and knowing that like we very well could win.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Who's the TVL champ? TVL MVP.
Tim Hill.
Yeah, Tim Hill.
Sophomore. Okay. And if you guys won a state, I know Cooper Evans was an individual champion, but have you guys won a team title yet?
I don't believe we had. I mean, definitely not in our time.
No, a state title?
Yeah.
No, it's been a while. I
don't really know, but I think we've.
Actually, my freshman year, I was like not on varsity, but I like played like a couple matches on varsity, but I didn't go to the state tournament, and we lost by 1 stroke. The whole thing.
State?
States, by 1 stroke.
Yeah.
So one person's putt, chip, drive, anything, like just could have won them. The thing. Imagine thinking about that, like, you're like, man, like if one kid just did one thing better, hit that one putt, on one of those 18 holes. Like, imagine that. So that's why golf is golf.
It'll be interesting too to see how the school and the DS community reacts to a state title from the golf team. I remember my senior year of high school, and I'm sure everyone else remembers this. Me and three of my buddies, I think it was Noah Greeny, Owen Wiedmeyer, and Oliver Freed, won the 4x800 meter state championship indoor.
I do remember that.
Of course, everyone. It was the parades through the streets.
Oh my God, I do remember that.
Yes,
that was sick.
I remember.
But anyway, so I remember at the DS Hall of Fame ceremony, they had the state champions come to get honored, the winter state champions. So it was the basketball team that had filled up the arena at Holy Cross, and then it was like me. And it was funny because not everyone knew about our state title. And it was an individual title, to be clear, in an event, not in, the overall meet. But it was still, obviously, I was a huge supporter of the basketball team. They deserved everything they got. But it wasn't a crazy reaction from the town about the track team. So I will be curious to see, are people going to give you guys the respect you deserve after if you win the state title, or is it gonna be underwhelming? And do you guys need that? Do you guys need the spotlight from the people, or is it just you and your boys? Will that be worthwhile, and your coach?
I think it's enough. Just with us. Honestly.
No, it's very. I totally agree.
Yeah,
it's for the boys.
Right.
I mean, we're just 6 guys. If we go out there, I mean, it's such a small team. It's like a family.
It is. We're such a tight knit group now.
And so, like, knowing that we can, like, from a just like small D3 school, like, win the whole thing is that's amazing.
Do you guys think it would help you play better, or it would make you more nervous and play worse if a whole bunch of DS kids showed up to cheer you on?
I think I would play worse. I do. I really do.
Yeah.
I hate to say it because
honestly,
it would be so much fun, but I think.
You mean like consistently or just off the first hole?
No, at the state championship, if it was
so like, okay. Yeah.
First hole would go well.
Yeah. I think if they just came for the first like 15 minutes or just to watch us tee off for the first hole, that would be great.
Yeah,
but
that would be nice.
At some point we just need to you kind of have to, when you're playing with 3 guys you don't know in like a tournament, there's like a lot of silent competition. It's very it's a lot high tense.
It's very like meditative.
It's like you can tell like when you hit a good putt, like the other kids in the group are like not happy for you and they're like very upset. Whereas like
wow,
yeah, it can be toxic.
Do you like that? Do you like when that guy's like, oh man, he made a great putt, screw that guy? Does that fire you up, or is that just very toxic and makes you like not like that?
I'd say it's like a weird blend of both, but I wish our high school played match play because I find match play much more. I play much better in match play.
What's match play?
So match play is basically every hole is played for like a point almost. So if you win the first hole, you'd be 1 up. And then through 18, you're like 4 up on like the 17th hole. Right. There's no way he can win. So the round's over. Yeah. But basically match play, like it allows you to have like a really bad hole and come back. All you lose is 1 hole. It's not like you have like an 11-stroke hole that is now going to affect your whole round. So match plays, it's a lot better if you're a little streaky. And
which is a lot of people.
That fires up the competitive juices too.
Now, this is a really fascinating element for someone that's like me and didn't know what high school golf was all about, or even golf really in general. I've talked a lot in recent interviews with football players about the mental aspect of like the shit talking that goes down and getting in people's heads and talking to other people. But this seems like something entirely even like more important when it's 3 strangers, and because golf can be so mental and emotional and change how you play. Are there strategies of like the way that you conduct yourself around the other people to get in their head?
No, definitely. I think there's a couple ways. I think the best is just silent, like confidence. When you just hit your putt and you kind of just show no, like even if you sink like a 20-foot putt, you just like kind of just like show no emotions, like you're like still locked in. And that's like a lot of pros do that. Like they're just like dead serious. Like they don't like get emotional. Like when they hit a good shot, they're not like really happy. They're just still like kind of just like cool, calm, and collected for the whole round. So I think that's a really intimidating factor. If you see a player who's just like, he's not like doing anything, he's just kind of like in his own mind.
Yeah, that can be a little bit intimidating. I would say for me though, it's the banter. It's like off the first tee, the kid hits a good drive. I'll be like, wow, like, damn, like, you think you can hit it 300 yards or something? And then, like, they're just the next 8 holes. And it's little things like that. And,
wait. And then it cut out a little bit. Then they keep trying to hit a huge one.
Yeah, exactly. Just swing for the fences and like the ball, like it goes out of play a lot. It really affects them.
Damn, that's really smart.
And you actually will see it play out a lot because that's how psychological golf is. But I kind of noticed that when one kid told me, like, he told me I had a swing similar to a player that I didn't like, and for the rest of the round, that was in my head. I was like, damn, what the hell, like, and that really like messed with me. And then I just kind of used it to my advantage in the rest of the season.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. It's so mental. Because someone talks crap on like track or something, like there's kids who would be like, oh, this is my PR, that's my PR. And you can tell sometimes they're like, a kid will tell you like way too good of a time that they don't actually run. And so you're like, oh man, this kid's good. But then like sometimes someone will like way underestimate. So then it frustrates you if they're running right with you at the beginning of the race. But it's not crazy. You know what you're capable of and you kind of do your thing. But that seems like super mental. Are there any other good examples of like either you getting in someone else's head or someone else getting in your head?
I just don't even.
It's a lot of the like comments on the swing that will get people, just kind of get them like thinking about it, like, oh, do I do something weird with my elbow or like something like that? And then they try to change it. That's normally the most effective, but sometimes it's fun to just like mess with kids and like confuse them and tell them lies and stuff. Like when we're just talking about like and getting along, communicating. It's fun to kind of confuse them a little bit sometimes if they're annoying.
I would just ask if they were up late the night before. I'd be like, you look tired, man. Are you?
That's
you look. It's just like the bags under your eyes or something.
Another good one is to tell them like they're always aimed the wrong way. Like oh, you're aimed like 20 yards right of the pin, like, and then they'll like either fix it or like every other shot they'll be worried about that, and it's just like little stuff like that.
Wow. Do you ever have kids like that aren't very skilled at this game of manipulation, and then they're trying to like pull one over on you and you're like, yeah, nice try, like that's not gonna mess with me?
Yeah, well, I mean, so I played a lot of my matches with Sean Scannell this year, which was a lot of fun, but we kind of had a little good cop bad cop thing going because it would be 2 DS kids and 2 opponents in each group when we play together. So it was kind of good to have like a voice of authority, and then like Sean could be the nice one, and that kind of like, I don't know, it was nice because I felt like always like calm during the rounds and stuff because of that.
Wait, go into detail more on that. So how does that work? How does that work with your opponents?
Like just playing in matches?
Well, no, just the good cop, bad cop thing you were just saying about the voice of the nice guy.
Yeah, well, Sean's like a little smaller than me.
He's a little shorty.
He honestly, he can be kind of ruthless sometimes with the comments too, though, which is what makes it fun because it's like we can both kind of go into someone. But what's a good example? Oh, okay, so one time a kid like hit the ball out of play, and they were looking to see like if it hit a tree and bounced back out or something. And I turned to the kid and I go, "Oh my God, I saw it kick further into the woods." He got his hopes up that it was going to kick out, and then I just told him it was in the woods, and it was pretty funny. He kind of got mad about that, but it's just stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
That's crazy. I didn't know all this about golf. Yeah,
it can get very toxic.
What Emilio told me, our interview that I did yesterday, I'm not sure when I'll release it, was he said he'll tell defenders, like he'll make a catch, and even if they really whack him, he'll just say, hit me harder, hit me harder. And then that's so weird because in football, sometimes there's an element of fear going on. So if you're literally inviting someone to try to take your head off, you must be like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. Like he can take a hit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I imagine there's a lot of trash talk between wide receivers and corners.
Yeah. But I think even more sometimes it's on the line because those guys see each other every play.
Yeah.
Clap, clap.
Yeah, they meet up. Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
But that's another thing too. I think it was on there's a Barstool podcast called Bussin' with the Boys. Do you guys know that one? It's Taylor Lewan and I can't remember the other guys' names. Yeah, they played for the Titans, and Taylor Lewan would talk about how sometimes the best trash talking wouldn't even be like an insult. They would just say something like really weird to the other guy, and that's what would get in his head.
Yeah, I've heard some weird stuff.
Because that'll make you think more than someone. If someone's just being a jerk, you're like, all right, you're a jerk. Like, whatever.
Yeah, especially football. Like, you don't really want to fire someone up like that.
So you guys have been traveling a lot. I saw both of you guys at the Medway game in football. I came back to Massachusetts for the weekend. Yeah. So the fan zone has been absolutely popping lately.
Oh, it has been immaculate. It was so I mean, we just have the captains are super active this year, and we made like an Instagram, and so we've just kind of been rallying everyone up to go to games. And I mean, we had like, I think our worst showing was Medway, honestly. It's
really,
yeah.
Actually, that's Miss Sullivan told me that as well. She said this is the least amount of people they've had.
Yeah. So like the home games have just been like everyone's there. Like we have bent the top bleacher, so now we have to stand like in the part between the actual benches, like the base of them, and they have like teachers come back and look at our feet to see if we're standing, like where we're standing, and so yeah, the zones have been packed, Dan, like every game. Millis was good a lot. I thought it was gonna be bad. Then a lot of people came and it was saved. And we got the foot tier 2 going, and we get themes for almost all of them. So I think our next Friday's game, I think we're doing whiteout, and it's going to be like the greatest game because it's senior night and it's for the title.
Yeah, for the TVL title.
TVL title, yeah, that's what
so
Johnny and Coach Mosier were telling me how they think it's outright. Because even though Norton's undefeated, DS has one loss.
Right, that's a
DS wins, Norton's got one loss, and then by the process of the way they break it down, it's head to head. So if you've lost head to head to the other team with one loss, you're not going to be the winner. So DS, first TVL title since my dad was on the team in 1979 or 78 or something.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. It's crazy we haven't won one in so long. Part of it, I think, is because it was just the TVL. Until I think when I went right into high school or something like that, they split it into small and large. I think when I was a junior, because we were co-champs with Dedham, I want to say, in indoor track. I think that's when it changed. And I remember being upset because I grew up around the TVL and I was like, oh man, this isn't the same. We don't get to compete against these teams as much that we really have rivalries with. But now in hindsight, I think it's a lot more fair because, especially in football, there was periods of time when big schools could just dominate and roll over the other teams.
Yeah.
It's part of what makes the track program so exciting too, is that like this past spring when I was coaching, we beat Hopkinton, Medfield, all the TVL large teams at the TVL showcase meet.
Wow.
Yeah. Track team has been very good for a while now. Like I've done indoor my first 2 years, and then junior year I didn't do it. I've done outdoor every year except junior year, and actually, yeah. And so, but when I was on the team, I think we won the league TVL small both years, and I know both outdoor years. I think we maybe won both of those or one of them, and so track team is just. I feel like there are a lot of good players that are runners that have graduated, like that are like, I feel like with every team, you feel that the seniors, once they graduate, they like the team will be worse. But I feel like people always step up to the plate.
Yes.
And so like, that's happened a lot in golf. And so.
People have been saying that since before. Like I could name the years when you guys, like when I was a sophomore, and people that you wouldn't even know. And people were like, oh my God, like, or like when I was a freshman, oh man, like we lost Justin Seymour. How are we ever going to be good again?
I know, exactly.
I mean, I don't even know if you guys know Justin, but he graduated
when we lost
2015 or something.
Spencer Robbins, like Tylen, like Lytle. Like I thought the team was going to be worse, but everyone just stepped up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's culture too. I think, and that's what you guys got going on the golf team too. If you have a culture of hard work and excellence, then the personnel can kind of change, but if the mentality and the culture stays the same.
Yeah, exactly. You always get players. And I mean, the team will probably be still good next year with me and Jack and Curtis off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they got like Tim, Sean, Mason, Griffin, Ben, yeah, or he'll be a captain next year. And so they'll have a really solid squad because people will step up to the plate and get better. You know, you'll always get better at golf. And so, especially through the summer, like everyone's just grinding and playing all the time. So when the fall comes, we're kind of ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me about your guys' senior year. How do you feel about it?
I think it's been pretty.
It's been a great year.
Pretty great
so far. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's good to be back in school fully, but still are wearing masks, which is a little bit unfortunate, I would say.
Yeah.
Kind of take like the personal connections out of class, I would say, and like a lot of the comedy lost in class. I feel like with the masks because you're not seeing people's faces and it's just not the same. But I mean, it is really good to be back, and because of COVID, we have unlimited senior privilege.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. Actually, I'm almost like I'm about to get a detention. Like I forgot to sign in like 6 times or 7 times, and so I've reached like a limit. So I cannot like miss any more sign-ins because you have to like sign out every time you want to leave a DR. And so I always like forget to just go on my phone and do that, and it actually has caused quite a few problems. Keegan's not been happy, but I did perform pretty well last week. She stopped me in the halls and was like, "Owen, like I just want to say you're doing a lot better." I also find myself being late to school a lot, but I've reached the limit now for that, and I've been on time every day since. And I think it's attributed to my brother a tad. He kind of takes a little bit to get ready in the morning. And so I'm often late because of him. So, I mean, in a way, it's not my fault, but I'm still at the max for the semester.
That's what's crazy about high school too. And now it's like so hard to imagine, but I think college is probably the time when you're like most prone to just sleeping in late and stuff. Cause like when you're young, it's easy to wake up and then like early. And when you're old, it's easy to wake up when you're early. But now I have so much less class time. I mean, there's a lot of work out of class, but so much less class time that like I remember in high school, if I woke up at like 9 a.m. on a school day, I was like, oh my God, like I missed so much. Like, what did I do? Because you guys are waking up at 6 a.m. Now, if I woke up at 9 a.m., I'm like, oh, that's a solid wake up time. Like, look at me. I feel good about myself.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. Do you guys, are you savoring the moment? Or are you at all worried about moving on to college and leaving Dover-Sherborn?
I'm going to be really sad to leave my friends. But I know that like we'll still find really great friends at college, probably friends for life at college. And so, I mean, it really sucks. It sucks. It's sad, but I think we'll be okay. And we'll still see each other as well. Like, you know,
yeah, I think that's the thing
summer.
A lot of people forget. Like you don't, it's not like you completely lose that. But I mean, it won't ever be the same. It's like, it's honestly it's so cool that like everyone from the same town goes to school all the time. Like you're with them all the time.
And also we've known each other for like our entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've known Jack since I was 2. Like we've known Johnny since he was like probably like.
I've known him since he was 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Willie and Henry and Curtis.
South Sherborn.
Yeah.
South Sherborn gang.
Exactly. And so it sucks that we have to leave each other, but
I remember being very I wasn't worried about leaving. I remember like other people were nervous and I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Like, cause you guys, I'm sure you're experiencing it. You get to be 18, you feel like, hey, I'm a man now. I hate having to ask to use the restroom and doing this or that, and you're ready to move on. And then only like later after I left, I was like, oh, maybe those last 2 months I should have savored it more. But then you're also on to bigger things. There's more fun to be had at college. There's more freedom. You're enjoying yourself. So, and in that same respect too, like you guys were saying, you still see your friends in probably the right amount of doses. You see them in the summer, Thanksgiving, stuff like that over break. So it's perfect. Yeah, absolutely, man. I was telling Owen, you got to start a dynasty league. Me and my buddies from DS. Dynasty Fantasy League is the move. You draft, for anyone not familiar, you draft, make an auction draft first year, probably have everyone together. And then each year you just draft the new rookies to the NFL and you go on like that. So you become like real NFL managers. So eventually it's a team completely recycled. Like Mr. Polk, Tim's dad, has had a dynasty league with his friends since college, so like 30 years.
Wow. Yeah, that. I've got a pretty competitive league, and we're looking to keep it for a while, which would be a lot of fun.
Jack's really good at fantasy also. Jack's I think he's won the last 2 years.
Yeah.
In his league.
Wow. What makes you so good?
Honestly, I feel like a lot of it is just feel. It's like, honestly, I don't know. I look at things kind of differently with stats and stuff. Like a lot of people will just pick the best players, like according to like catches and yards, touchdowns, all that stuff. But it's like, you got to look to like opportunity. A lot of football is depending on other people to help you out too. Like being a running back, like you need good O-line. You know, if you're a wide receiver, you need good quarterback. So stuff like that, and you just got to like piece it out. But I don't know. It's just a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And two, what you need serious people in your league, because when people aren't setting their lineups and stuff like that, it becomes no fun for other people because it's no longer competitive, basically.
Yeah, no, I'm glad our league is so competitive, and it's we have like punishments at the end of the year, and there's a pretty big buy-in, so it keeps us definitely all motivated.
My punishment for my dynasty league, and we came up with a lot. One of my ideas was, I almost want to look up my ideas because there's a bunch of funny ones. Was you got to email your like 5 teachers from Dover-Sherborn, because we're all juniors in college now. You got to email 5 teachers from Dover-Sherborn. Tell them how much they impacted your life, how much they mean to you, and ask them if you can get a phone call to catch up. And then once you get them on the phone, you have to try to sell them knives. You have to like try to like sell them something ridiculous.
That's a great punishment.
And then the punishment we end up going with, and it looks like Brett Stark is going to have to do it, is because he's 0-6 going on 0-7, is that we're all going to go into Boston to a comedy club, and the loser has to go up and do a stand-up routine written by the guys.
Oh my God. That's like Impractical Jokers. Have you seen that show?
Yeah, that's great.
That's like the funniest thing ever.
Jack, what's the punishment for your league?
We haven't decided on it yet because it kind of depends on the person. It can be like funnier, depending on who it is, because there can be a little context to the punishment. But there's another competitive league in our school with a bunch of sophomores, and I know their punishment is the loser is getting dropped off at like Natick Outdoor Store, and they have to walk all the way home or something. It's
That's
go further. You can do.
I know that's what I said. I said like the middle of Vermont, like, and then you can use this
jump off like Route 9.
Somewhere where it would be like a highway distance walk.
Like, yeah,
like just had to go backwards to the highway.
All the cars, they go all the way back.
Because I know a kid a few grades older than me, Packy Wayne, his punishment was he had to run a marathon on a treadmill.
Oh my God.
So I saw it was all over Snapchat. I think this was like the summer of 2019. So it was everyone, like all his DS friends came back, and like they literally for hours were just having him run on the treadmill, and they're giving him like donuts and just terrible stuff.
Wow.
One of my here are some of my other proposals.
Okay.
And keep in mind, some of these are only funny because we're like older now. We're all like 20 or 21. Take a driver's ed class with teenagers over the summer.
That's
so you go in and just have to pretend that you like didn't have your license and like sit with a bunch of 16-year-olds while they go through driver's ed, which is a pain in the ass. Retake the SAT/ACT until you improve on your score from high school.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God.
That's
awful.
And some of us, like if you have a certain major, like I'm a history major, like I haven't done math in years. So like that would be really hard. Yeah. There's this one kid in our grade. little bit different. So you're gonna have to legally change your name to his name for the summer. That one was a little bit like no one was gonna do that.
Yeah.
I found this one on TikTok, I think. Write the Apple terms and conditions by hand.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
That's the first one.
Yeah, that.
And then prepare a ridiculous business presentation for Needham Bank and ask for a huge loan.
That's great.
Yeah, so that, and then the other ones are just too inappropriate to read out loud. So
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, what did it? Jack Thompson, who is like not like a guy that would want to run, had to do, I think, a beer mile or something. I think, or no, it wasn't a beer mile. It was like a chocolate milk mile, but they gave him way too much chocolate milk. Oh. He was just like, it was atrocious.
That reminds me of our game of tag.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say.
Every month of May, me and a bunch of kids, Johnny included, play tag, and there's very specific time frames on like the timing window that people can be tagged. And there have been some harsh punishments, like Grady had to run and Cadence had to run milk miles at school during lunch. And then what else did we do?
Oh my God.
We had to wear a Boy Scout uniform to school one day with like cut off capri pants, but they were like halfway up his thigh.
Cadence and Grady both threw up after the thing.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was, and like
there a certain time, like how did you make sure they ran hard? Did you tell them like you have to run hard?
No. At first we said like loser of the race has to like do something worse.
Right.
So we said that though to make them run quick.
But then they just ran together.
No. Then they ran together, but we weren't actually gonna make them do it. We just wanted to, to see a race go.
That's freaking hilarious. That was one of the coolest things. Because I know there was a movie about that, right? Is that where you guys got the idea?
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of. Well, we do it like differently than they do. I think they play tag, but at the end of their month, like it's like there might not be any punishments. I think they just play tag to play tag.
Yeah, they're like it for a year, and that's like
they just like it's only 1 month, and so they just tag. I think they just to tag, but we wanted to like make it like incentives. So we were like, okay, well, let's add punishments. So it makes people want to go out and like tag people.
Yeah, we've had some crazy stories.
Yeah, we've had like
bad stories. Yeah, one kid has like broken into someone's house by accident because they thought it was a different house.
Yeah, and that person, I will not name him.
Yeah, we won't.
Called me, and he was like showing me the basement, and he's like, "Is this Curtis's basement?" And I looked at it, and I was like, "No, it's not." Yeah. And so he just hung up and then just dipped, closed the door, and ran away. Like someone was coming down into the basement, I think.
Dude.
Yeah.
It was.
That's wild. He broke into someone's house for tag.
Someone's house.
Yeah.
Because he thought it was Curtis's house, and so he could have gotten like arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Or like shot.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you saw a high school kid just in your basement, like looking around.
Yeah. Looking for pills or whatever, man.
Yeah, like Jesus. Yeah.
Wow.
That person.
So explain the rules a little bit more for people that aren't familiar. Isn't it you guys there was like a weekend winner and then like a weekday winner? And kind of like, because it sounds like a fun idea. Like I would have wanted to be involved in that in high school. Like weren't too many people trying to get involved and it would have like diluted the game.
I think we're gonna like cut the numbers down next year to like.
Yeah, it was a lot of kids.
I think
it made it too hard.
Yeah, and also it was a lot more fun when we did it our sophomore year when we weren't able to drive because like people now can just get we just get into car chases all the time. But back then it was so like much more fun because it was like everything was on foot. And it was like pure athleticism dominated.
Like there would be like a mile-long chase sometimes because Johnny. I remember one time specifically. Me and Curtis were running from Johnny. So we're like running on the road and we decide we're going to have to like go into the woods or like somehow divert Johnny because if he's running on pavement, like he's going to get to us. So Curtis is like, woods. So we dip off into the woods, like off the road. And we're just going through the forest. And this is like when I was, like mid-track, like about to get into track season. During track season. And so I was in good shape. And so I was like, Curtis, like, I'm sorry, like you're getting tagged. And so I just like ran as fast as I could. I just knew I just had to beat Curtis to save myself. And John caught Kurt. And it was like right before the deadline, which is why it made it such a high stakes race. Like whoever got tagged would have to do the punishment because they wouldn't have enough time to go anywhere else. So it was like 8:30, game closes at 9. Like if John tags Curtis and I get away, Curtis is gonna have to like find someone else to tag in like span of 20 minutes.
That's crazy. I remember Johnny sent in our family group chat. It was something like my mom was like, "Where are you, Johnny? Like, you know, why aren't you home?" It was like kind of late at night. Like not late, but it was like he should have come home by that point for dinner or whatever. And then Johnny was like, "Sorry, Mom, I can't leave." Like for whatever reason, I don't know if he didn't have his keys or it was something like he was like, "I'm locked inside a car and I can't get out because Grady Rousseau is gonna tag me."
Oh yeah. I remember that. That was this year.
Or maybe Grady was locked in the car and John was waiting for him. It was something like that.
They went off on like a 2-hour chase. That was one of the craziest ones. That was like the first day. That was May 1st too. Yeah, so it was like.
Yeah, they were up like 2.5 hours, like just like car chasing.
They went up and back to the AMC Framingham like 3 times. Just 8 cars like chasing each other. It was crazy.
That is absurd. That is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, Grady definitely will take it seriously.
Yeah. Actually, Dan, I'm pretty sure Curtis ran into your graduation party trying to tag John. Do you recall that?
I feel like vaguely I remember being like,
okay, it did happen.
Explaining it to my cousins because they were like, and it was like my friends were there and my cousin, and then I saw like Kershaw. I was like, what is he? I was like, what's going on, man?
No,
and then all of a sudden Johnny like took off, and I was like, he's playing this game of tag, and everyone thought it was like wicked funny.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. We thought, Curtis was like, I feel so bad. I just like crashed the Bennett's like party.
No, this is like some people have like these really fancy parties, like not to call anyone out, but my sister had like this super like bougie party, or at least I thought it was bougie, where we had to like clear a bunch of like brush for her and like go outside, get all this nice stuff. And I was like super, like, I was like, why are we spending all this money? And then for my party, like, I remember I had a big day. Like I made the graduation speech, whatever. I was like, get me pizza, get me buffalo wings, invite 10 of my friends over, and that will be good. And it was like the best party because my friends just came over and we just talked about high school and we just laughed about all the cool things that had happened, and my cousins were there, and it was just a good time.
Yeah, that sounds really, really nice.
You guys gonna have grad parties or what?
No,
probably.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
I don't know who's gonna host, but we're gonna have to get that going.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, that's a crazy game at tag. You guys do it in May?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. You wouldn't do it in the fall. Is that sacrilegious? That's not right.
No, we can't. That's against the laws.
Against the rules.
We can't do that.
You could
want to get Johnny too tired before football games.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah, or some shit like that. You could also split it up into like divisions. Like if to make it smaller. Right. I mean, just because you don't want to cut someone out. So you'd be like, oh man, you guys should make your other game like whoever was the latest to join last year's game or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like Dover and Sherborn, like split up.
Dover and Sherborn. Well, that's like my dynasty league. We have a Pine Hill division and a Chickering division.
Oh, that's cool.
God, that's
like
great.
that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And it makes sense because like Tylen's from Dorchester, but he went to Pine Hill. And then and then like people because also when you get older, like some people move because like just the parents, like it's crazy prices in DS. So then if you move, like Dover and Sherman doesn't always make sense. So Pine Hill and Chickering's perfect.
Yeah, dude, that actually is perfect. And that's so like sentimental. You just like, we all went to elementary school together.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had I feel like my friends and I had crazy like snowball fights and stuff. That was kind of the thing that we did. We didn't ever play tag. That would have been, I'm trying to remember. We had some stupid game that ended in some sort of shenanigans with cars and stuff like that. I don't think anything as intricate as what you guys did. That's pretty innovative.
Yeah, no, it was a great idea. I think John may have like coined that.
It was like a couple of us at lunch.
Yeah.
It was me and John.
He was in the founders.
Some other people. Dylan.
Dylan. No, I'm glad we do it. And then we're gonna play it this year, and I feel like the punishment at the end of the month should be something like terrible because it's the last year we can play.
That'll be.
Last guy to get tagged should just have to drop out or something.
I know.
Right.
Take the GED instead of graduating.
Yep.
Something like that. Something nuts.
The GED just 3 years?
No, what the GED is if you're not gonna like get all the credits to graduate from high school, it basically is like a proficiency test. So you can just it's kind of almost like the equivalent of a high school degree. It's a test you take, and if you can prove that you have like the high school level knowledge, they'll give it to you. And some jobs take GEDs, especially like more like voc jobs.
Right.
Because they're like, they don't care as much about you like having taken such and such English lit class. They're just like, oh, okay, this person's like reasonably
intelligent.
Yeah, intelligent.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. So you guys have been watching the podcast, is that right?
Yeah, I've watched a couple episodes. I haven't been watching it religiously, but definitely the interesting names I've watched.
Yeah, which
I
one?
I love the Mr. Danny. I was like super excited when you had Mr. Kaplan on your podcast. Because I actually you had Mr. Kaplan on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Me and him like got in a little altercation at the end of the year.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll cut you off, but you can finish. When I said, I put on my story, I'm having on Mr. Keith Kaplan. Does anyone have any questions you'd like me to ask? And I believe it was Curtis. It could have been someone else slid up and said, ask about Owen Bingham's homework.
Yeah.
And that's how I got the backstory on what you're about to tell us.
Okay, I'm glad. Okay, so pretty much what happened was we were in class doing group work, and I like had to grind out some physics homework. It was due the next period, and I just forgot to do it the night before, and it was gonna be quick, so I was just kind of doing it. We're doing group work, and Mr. Kaplan comes over, sees me doing the work. I got yelled at prior in the class for being too loud, just like socializing. Yeah, no. So I was just socializing. Yeah. And so he was like, "Stop, like talking, like work." And I was like, "Okay, I'm sorry." And then I like start doing the homework like silently, and he comes over, he sees me doing the homework. He's like, "Okay, you're done," or something like that. And he takes my homework, and then he like points to a desk in the corner. He's like, "Go sit over there." Like he put me in timeout. And so I just sat in the corner for like 45 minutes remaining in the class. And Mr. Kaplan took my homework, and then I awkwardly went up to him in the end, and I was like, at the end of the class, and I was like, "Can I have my homework?" And he's like, "No, I like put it in your teacher's mailboxes," and I emailed all of them.
Oof.
Yeah. So I went to physics the next class, and Doc L had read the email that Mr. Kaplan sent, and so like as soon as she got there, she was like, "Oh, and like come here," and so like she took me outside of the class, and she just yelled. She like yelled at me for like 5 minutes, but then she was kind of like, you probably don't know her, but she can be really nice or really like mean, kind of. She's hot and cold, and so she was like really mad at first, and then she was like, "Owen, like I know you're a good kid though, like it's okay, whatever," kind of like it was like ridiculous. She was like being mean and then being nice. I was like, okay. But she yelled at me for like 10 minutes, and then Miss Collins, the other teacher that I was doing homework for, I did it for math as well a little bit. And Miss Collins walks by, and I'm talking with Doc L, and then Miss Collins is like, "I'm gonna have that same talk with you."
Oh Lord. Oh,
and I had math right after physics. So I left physics, and then I went to math, and then Miss Collins yelled at me. And yeah, it was a tough day, Dan.
Yeah, it sounds like. I mean, I feel like I have to side with Mr. Kaplan on this one. You were screwing around, and he told you to knock it off, and then you were doing you can't be doing your physics homework in history.
No, I know. He was right. My only argument point was that he was like, I was only doing the homework for like 2 minutes, or 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes. He just was like in a bad mood, and like I kind of already pissed him.
That's 10% of the class.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I was just upset because I thought the punishment was a little bit too severe for like what I did. Like I knew something, I maybe sit in the corner was my punishment.
Yeah.
But when he emailed all my teachers and gave them my homework, I thought that was a little bit excessive, but I mean, I shouldn't have done the homework. But
Jack, you don't strike me as much of a troublemaker as Owen. Is that right? Or do you get in trouble for such hobgoblinry?
I'm not as much of a hobgoblin as the man to my right here, but yeah, no, honestly, not really. Kind of like to stick.
I know that word reminds me of the time, and this is again with some stuff I wouldn't do now, but I feel like when I was like a senior in high school or something, I went on Dover-Sherborn and I had a fake account.
Yes, I had.
And you posted Jack posted something. It was something silly, but it wasn't that silly. It was like he posted like a funny comment or like, I don't know. It's him and Johnny would always post stuff like, what do you think the score of the Celtics game is going to be? And then people would respond, like send him private messages like, this forum is not to discuss the Celtics. This is a serious forum about town politics. And like they just like freak out. So whatever I sent you under a fake thing, to sound like an old man, I was just like, you and your hobgoblin friends, like I found your address on next to Sherburne, and to make it more realistic, I was like, I know who you are, Charlie Potter, and I'm going to call your mom and tell her what you've been doing.
Sherburne is toxic. It gets bad.
But yeah, I do remember that.
Oh.
Johnny was Charles Barkley and I was Thomas Heinsohn.
Yeah, Tommy Heinsohn.
The Holy Cross legend. But yeah, no, we definitely had a lot of fun on that.
Next door Sherburne is toxic. It really shows you. You ever wonder how we did the Salem witch trials? Fucking look at next door Sherburne.
Yeah.
That's how we did the Salem witch trials. People gang up. There's like a vocal minority that will just rip people apart. Because most people in Sherburne are reasonable. But if you get 10% of the people in the forum to absolutely rip other people apart, then it seems like the mob is after you.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people just don't have anything better to do. Also, it's like that. They wake up and just check next door. Who can I piss off?
Yeah.
I had a legendary post where someone was complaining they had like little kids in their house, and there was a coyote den right next to their house, and they needed it to get taken care of, and they needed help, and the coyotes they had like a dog too, and the coyotes had done something. And then I was like, me and some of my big old friends could come over there like with a machete and like an air horn and scare off and get those coyotes for you if they gave you any problem. And then like a bunch of environmentalists, or like, what are they called? Like a bunch of people that were like, and it was like mostly in jest, like it was supposed to be funny. And then like a bunch of like environmentalist people were like, that's animal abuse. And they were citing like the Massachusetts laws about like harming a coyote. And someone was like, I guess if that's what you want to do, it's natural selection or something like that. And then it was like an old guy, and I responded to him. I was like, all right, Hubert. I was like natural selection. I was like, the guy in natural selection times that wouldn't want to protect the little kids from coyotes would certainly do better than me. And then like the next door Sherburne moderator like took my comment down and stuff.
Jesus.
Next door Sherburne police, those people are pretty
they get involved.
Yeah.
What's crazy is the amount of power that can go to someone's head. Like the small amount of power.
Totally ridiculous. Yeah, and like we've had people like comment on our stuff too. I think Alex, this kid in our grade, his name's Alex. He like had our backs. Like some guy like said something about we needed to have like insurance or something, or I don't know what. And Alex was like, chill.
Just for people that don't know, for your landscaping business.
That's correct. Yes, BPO maintenance. If you didn't know,
shout out.
Yeah, and so she, whoever this person was saying like we need insurance, and Alex was like, they're just some high schoolers like trying to make money, like don't hire them if you don't want them, like whatever. And so we've had a couple Karens.
Karens.
Oh, speaking of Karens, actually, sorry, one sec, Danny. Speaking of Karens, I just want to take us back to a memory. I think it occurred some summer, maybe around COVID summer. And you and Curtis were at the gate.
Oh my God.
And this woman like said something super rude to Curtis, and you were like, you got really upset, and Curtis was like, no, Danny, like don't. Can you do you remember what you said or like any of that?
Not exactly, but it was definitely, I was in college and I was back and I was having like a nice conversation with Curtis.
Yeah.
And Curtis must have been like 15 or 16 or something. And this woman came up and she said something about, she was like yelling at Curtis. And it was something about not letting, like something about the rules that Curtis had nothing to do with. And Curtis, it was a rule, a procedural thing at Farm Pond that Curtis had nothing to do with. And I don't even think he was enforcing it that strictly. And I think if she had given him a chance to like walk her through it, she could have probably gotten her way. But she was like, my friend has to take care of her 3 kids. And like, you're making this a huge problem. And she was yelling at him. And then I was like, what is your, I got out like really, I'm mad. Cause I was like, what is your problem? I was like, you feel good about yourself coming and screaming at a bunch of high schoolers? I was like, and she was like, yeah. And I was like, and Curtis was like, yo, chill. Cause I mean, it's his job. He probably didn't want to get in trouble, or he said it wasn't worth it, but I was really giving it back to her. So then I said something like, oh, like you know, oh, you must feel real great. Oh, you know, at this 16-year-old when it's not helping you get what you want. And then she's like, what are you, 17? She said that to me. And I think I was 19 at the time. So she was trying to insult me. And I had the best comeback. I don't know. I had the best comeback that I thought of. I did not pull the trigger on it. And it probably was good. Yes, it probably would have been, it's probably better I didn't say it, but it would have been hilarious. She goes, what are you, like 17? Trying to like comment that I was younger. She knew I wasn't 17. And I was going to say, what are you, like 50? And she was like 38.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that would have ended it.
Totally.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
That would have dropped it. Yeah.
Because that would have like hurt her feelings so much worse than it hurt my feelings, her comment. But I'm glad I rose above. Yeah,
I know you did. Curtis kind of held you back. Curtis held you back a bit. I remember, like, you were going to say something. He was like, Dan, no.
Well, I felt bad too, because I think he really didn't think it was worth it. But at the time, I remember thinking, hey, Curtis is this, he's working the gate. It's a tough job. It's a hard job. I know a lot of people that have done it. He can't speak up to this woman without getting in trouble, getting a call downtown. So I was like, oh, I'll take care of it. And so I got mad. And then Curtis, I think, was just like, dude, it's just not worth it. Just smile and tell those people whatever.
Yeah, it's better to take that.
There's a lot of Karens at
I was literally just about to say that. There's so many. I sometimes stay at the gate with Kurt for like an hour or two, like a couple times in the during COVID summer, and like I would just see like Karen after Karen. Like there are a lot. Like they just come in minivan, just hordes of them, and they're always complaining about like parking, or like can they reserve a parking spot for other people, and then Curtis has to like explain them the rules every single time. And so
there's some ridiculous stuff, like people wanting to come in without a sticker and like
I know.
Crazy stuff. I was a lifeguard at a condominium complex in Framingham, and it was a rougher area. It was definitely like there was people selling drugs in the complex, and there was definitely like the trustees told me, hey, watch out, there's like some gang members in here and stuff like that. And that summer was right before my junior year of high school, I want to say. And that summer, maybe it was right before my senior year. It taught me a lot of grit, because I had to speak up and yell at adults at a time when it wasn't easy before. But people would absolutely break the rules and be furious with me. And then sometimes they'd try to intimidate me. But the guy that was the boss of the whole place, Pat Tatey, he's, Cam Thompson.
Yeah.
Yep. It's his grandpa.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Actually,
badass dude. I love Pat Tatey. He was like the ultimate boss of the complex. And if they gave me too much shit, if I said, hey, I'm going to call Pat, they would immediately back down. Immediately. They were so afraid, because he like ran everything. He could, and he would help them out too. He was like a really compassionate guy. So if they're having trouble with paying their rent that month, he would help them out. So he had like a lot of power and sway.
Yeah, totally. That's interesting.
Yeah. I have a lot of stories from that, but I don't know how many of them are appropriate for the podcast even.
Sure.
Yeah. You need those tough jobs. What's the toughest job you guys ever worked?
It's a good question. I'd say one time we had to move 4 yards of sand and
that was bad.
30 yards of wood
that
chips.
Was bad. That was really bad.
To cover the ECDC playground. We had to mulch it.
It was me, Jack, and Willie.
Yeah, Willie came along.
Spent like 8 hours there.
Yeah, it was about 8 hours. It was tough.
I don't know if you ever moved sand before, but it is
pretty heavy.
Terrible.
Full wheelbarrow of it.
No, yeah, I can't say I've ever had the privilege of moving sand.
Yeah,
it's not fun. It's not fun.
No. So the Patriots finally got a win, huh?
Yeah.
They've been rarely well. Like the thing is, we've had like the Dallas loss was so tough because it was so close.
Yep.
And like the Dolphins loss was tough because they kept driving it and we just couldn't quite get it in the end zone enough. Like I like Mac Jones. I feel like he could be a real good future of this team. But it's one of those things where it's like a competitor, you got to get touchdowns, you got to get wins. We just need to make wins happen. The Bucs game, that was another tough loss. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, it's just this was our first home win this year. It's like we really have not been good in our home stadium, which is kind of surprising. Normally we thrive on that. Boston or
You guys see the Sox the other night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game we lost, but I watched most of the series.
I watched part of the last game. It was just a tough loss. I feel like I can only be so upset though because like going in the wild card, like it wasn't exactly clear who was going to win. As for the Yankees, I think the Yankees were slightly favored.
They
ended up beating them, and then beating the Rays too was a real cherry on top of the season. So you can only be so upset, and I feel like we're set up good with Cora and the pitching and everything going into next season.
Cora's awesome. He really knows what to do.
Our team can rip the ball too.
Yeah, we just need pitching, and I think we're good.
The Celtics look terrible too.
Yeah,
not terrible, but like what are we 0-2?
Yeah, we're 0-2 right now. We might be playing right now actually Sunday afternoon game.
I think Sunday night. I think I want to say there's a 7:00 game. Let me look it up. Yeah. Owen, are you still working with DSC TV?
Yes, I am.
What's going on? Guess who I'm having on? Guess who's coming on the podcast?
Crandall Brothers?
Brad Crandall, baby.
Oh my, that's going to be a great podcast.
He's such a guy.
Bro, Dan, make sure you talk to him about me. I love Brad and Cam. They're brothers, and they just run the entire DS cable TV thing. Brad does the Instagrams. He gets all the pictures. Cam films, and then Sebastian Sar, I think, commentates. He's in like 8th grade or 7th grade. 8th grade?
8th grade.
Yeah, he's in 8th grade, and he commentates. I can only commentate in the spring, though, because for football, they have, like, assigned commentators. Basketball, same thing. Like, you can't have a kid do it. And so spring sports and those sports, I can. So I have to wait till the spring. So,
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so we're playing the Rockets at 7:00, just for anyone that was curious. But also, yeah, and I really want to talk to Brad because I really have appreciated too. I'm at school in North Carolina. My brother playing his senior season. I've been able to watch and enjoy so many games in real time because of the good work that DSC TV does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really
perfect for that.
They've done a great job.
You should honestly reach out to them about coming out and covering the state championship.
You think they would do that?
It's a state championship. That's a little piece of history.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The one
they would have to set up. The thing is, it's like kind of hard to like film and get like pictures unless they kind of come with us. I guess they'd have to like walk with us with their camera equipment. So I mean, they could probably do that for like the first like couple holes, or maybe just come and watch us tee off and take pictures and videos for it.
Yeah, that would probably be better. There's also a lot of rules. I know the MIA about state championships because they want to make money off of it and they do their own coverage. I said the other day, the MIA is kind of like Stalin. I feel like they oppress a lot of people.
Interesting.
It's a hot take. Maybe you guys aren't at liberty to agree with that right now.
I don't know enough about the MIAA.
The MIA's got you under their thumb, just where they want.
Yeah,
I'm an independent venture. I can talk about the MIA.
No. Oh wait, I mean, it's not like they're trying. That's
Yeah, I just don't like a lot of their rules. And I think like in track, there was this great thing, Bay State running, that used to cover all the invitationals. Yeah, and you probably remember that.
I've been to
And
one.
then there was this whole movement, Free Bay State, because they weren't, MA wasn't allowing them to cover the state championship, even though they were the biggest draw. They did so many numbers.
Yeah.
And they had good commentators.
What'd you say?
They had good commentators that knew about track. It was two track coaches.
I would watch like the states and sectionals for you guys like live on, I think like they just broadcast it. I think I just looked up Reggie Lewis or something, and like I just watched Johnny race, watched you race, and it's great. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And then DSC TV, it's like, that's why I have so much respect for those guys too, is they're covering all the sports, everything. Yeah. So if you're someone's grandma and you can't come out to the game because of COVID or whatever the case may be, you have that. And it's also kids compete, you know, and they can go and like 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, maybe Johnny's kids are going to want to see the lacrosse state championship. And right there will be this game with commentary and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be a treat in like 50 years.
I know. We can watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So Jack, you're playing baseball in the spring, is that right?
Yeah.
Tell me about last season. It was kind of a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was. It was a weird season. We started off terrible. I think we were like 0-6 at some point. Actually, it might have been like 1-7. Actually, I think we won one game in Medway. We were 1-1, and then we lost like 6 in a row. But it was really shaky. We didn't really get like things figured out till towards the end of the year, and then we kind of like locked in a lineup, and we kind of established like the best pitchers and the best hitters kind of rose to the top towards the end, to the point where we were really rolling into this postseason. And then our first game we played Martha's Vineyard, which was a lot of fun. It was the last day of school, so we got that entire day off. Full day trip to Martha's Vineyard. We went out there, beat them. We threw a no-hitter, and then and then we came back and played the 1 seed, just because of how the situation worked. We didn't have a good first half of the year, so we didn't have a good seed. And then we lost to them, but we were competing. We were 2 hits away probably from winning that game. But next year I think we're gonna be really dominant.
Yeah, and didn't Coach Ryan win TVL Coach of the Year because of the way he made a real comeback with you guys?
Yeah, he did. He definitely had some really good calls that kind of guided us towards success towards the end of the year. We had this kind of nonconformist strategy of using this so-called opener instead of a closer. So basically, Kyle Pucci would come in and pitch 1 inning to start the game, and then we would bring in our good pitchers like Derek Roman or Ethan, and they would throw the rest of the game, and then they'd be fresh through the end of the game. So it was like it was a different approach, but we really liked it. And it proved to be successful.
And is high school baseball 9 innings?
It's 7 innings, just because you kind of ran out of daylight.
How long did it last?
Games are like anywhere from like 2 to 3 hours. They can be very long.
Wow. Do you ever get to what position do you play?
I play center field and I pitch as well.
Yeah. Do you ever get distracted in a 3-hour game?
Sometimes. I'm pretty good at keeping my focus though, because I kind of just get into this like rhythm of just, you kind of do the same thing every play, because it's like there's probably like 150 pitches in the 7-inning game, and like you have to be ready every play, obviously every pitch. So I kind of just like walk back like one after the pitch, and then I come back up, and like it's just a little routine, but it keeps me interested, which is good. So
yeah, and I feel like you wouldn't be the kind of guy. I feel like you have good focus and are disciplined and responsible. I feel like you wouldn't be the guy. That was like when I was a kid. That's part of why I didn't get into baseball. I played it for a few years, and I'd be dancing, looking around, not focusing in the outfield. And Coach Ryan was my little league coach, because Kirby played up a grade because he's a talented athlete. He would be like, "What are you doing?" I would just, baseball wasn't my thing. I just didn't have that patience.
Right. Yeah, I know it's a tough game, and yeah, it's very long. Similar to golf in the way that you stay focused for a while.
Yeah. And Owen, what's on the slate for you as far as sports for the rest of the year?
The plan is track for the spring.
Comeback season?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking to excel in the 200. I don't know who my competition is. I got to grind for sure, but I think I can win some races if I put in the work.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like both of you guys too, I noticed as you got older, you've kind of thinned out and you're like built well. Would you say that? Would you say that's true?
Yeah,
I would agree.
I would agree with that.
I would say that's accurate.
Yeah. So that's one of the good things is you're at that age, like you probably just come back and be able to do
Oh
it.
yeah. I mean, like during golf, we can't really lift or like work out a lot.
Wait, just because you'd be too sore?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it has like a pretty big impact. It sucks. Like you can't. Like I really like lifting.
You can't dirty bulk.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for the winter to I enjoy exercising. Just glad.
Is there also an element of just being like more like up and down, like if you're lifting and then like the way you'll feel, like do you guys need to feel pretty consistent, so like your swing one day is going to be the same as the other day?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
You want to feel as consistent as you can,
and it's hard.
Yeah,
like you can take one day off, then go back to the range, and there might be a whole new problem. Just because you took one day off and like you're not just like smoothing the swing, just like getting it nailed into your head.
Yeah, and that's what's fascinating about golf too, because I feel like other sports, you can, like if you're feeling like low, like let's say you don't have enough sleep or something, or your calf is sore, there's adjustments you can make to compensate for those shortcomings on a given day. It sounds like that's not the case in golf.
No, it is not.
Yeah, no, not
at all. Yeah. Wow. Wait, where's Charlie at?
He's off to a church class right now.
Oh, he's a man of God. He should have come and said hi before he left. I meant to have him come on.
Oh yeah.
He'll be just skirted out.
Yeah. He won't be back.
He just skirted out, really?
Yeah, he kind of snaked his way out of here.
I saw him in the background a little bit. It was like, and he looked like he was sneaking by. Like I was like, it's all right. Like it doesn't really matter if he's in the background or anything. Yeah. But I wanted to say hi because I, babysat back from him in the day. Just legacy things.
Of course.
What can I say? Yeah. So going into the state championship, what does the preparation look like? Are you mostly trying to be as relaxed as possible and sort of tapering off? Or is there a system you go into where you're trying to like make improvements and sharpen up?
For me, it's not a time to make improvements. It's a time to find precision. And even if you're like, say your ball naturally is like drawing like 5 yards, which means it's coming in towards like the side you swing from, you just gotta adapt and play to it. You can't try to fix it in that short time window, because you'll probably end up messing something else up. So it's a lot of like learning how to play with your flaws and just kind of being as comfortable as you can, because if you're like comfortable and confident in golf, you're gonna play your best.
Yeah, that's a big thing with. Yeah, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it's just you kind of just want to just get in your rhythm, and it's not, you don't want to mess anything up or like make a tweak. Just like go with what you know, and just make sure you're good at that, and just kind of getting, like you said, getting yourself in the right mindset, like calming down. We've just been going to the range these couple of days. We've kind of like taken a break from playing the course every single day, because you kind of need to take a break, just like hit some balls, loosen up, but don't go crazy. So that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of preparation.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. And I'll have to definitely agree with you guys, because as a coach in track, what I learned from the better coaches I had in track was like the day of competitions and stuff like that, you don't make adjustments.
Yeah.
The other thing is you can only adjust so many things at once before a person gets just too confused and you screw with them, and there's too much that's off. So you got to really pick and choose which corrections you're going to make and when to implement them. And there's no reason to make some sort of crazy adjustment or think that your mind is going to be able to, throw something crazy and make a huge improvement on the day of. Like that's way more likely to just mess someone up. Would you guys ever coach Would you guys ever consider coaching sports when you're older?
Totally, yeah. That's something I definitely look forward to as I grow up.
Golf coach.
Really? So, and you're saying golf, Jack. What would you want to coach?
I think
or baseball. Actually, I would coach baseball. I feel like I would.
I'd want to coach my son's baseball team too, and maybe like a high school team. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A golf coach would be really cool as well, but I think baseball would be more fun.
I always think it would be like, obviously I want to coach my kids, but one thing I'd love to do would be like have a regular job I go to, and then just coach like a high school team, like a track team, because I feel like that's something that just really keep the competitive juices flowing, especially if I don't think this would be me, but if I got in like an office job, like a cubicle, I think it'd be really helpful to have some sort of a thing that also keeps you going, that breaks up the monotony.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun to be a part of something like that, because I mean, it matters so much that like you as a high schooler, like your sport is 50% of who you are, so you really, you definitely would feel the competition as a coach. So.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Speaking of coaches, we're nearing in on the Young Shakespeare podcast record set by Mr. Rob Mosier, the DS track and football coach. Hour and 32 minutes in my watch.
That actually did go extremely fast.
Yeah, the record's an hour and 42 minutes. See, when you're talking, it doesn't.
Wait, sorry, Danny. How long are we?
So we're at an hour and 32 minutes.
Okay, and what's the record?
The record's an hour and 42 minutes.
Okay, all right, yeah.
You guys have the stamina. Can you make it through a long?
Oh yeah.
Are you feeling good? Are you feeling good?
I want to beat Mosier.
Yeah, me too.
He gave me some shirts for not doing track.
I think it would be crazy too if we could manage a podcast that was like, I don't even know. See, maybe you guys don't have stamina like I do, but like a 2.5 hour podcast or a 3 hour podcast. Then you throw it up on the Instagram story, you'd be like, check out this fucking 3 hour podcast. That just gives me Joe Rogan vibes. That's all I'm going to say.
I was going to say that's Joe Rogan there. Yeah. His podcast.
Yeah, Dan, you're going to have to find something that wants to stay for like 3.5 hours. Just like do it on like a Sunday morning. Curtis might do that.
Really? You think Curtis could You think Curtis could outlast you guys?
Actually, I don't know. He's a pretty he can engage in conversation.
I mean, I know, but I don't know if he can win like one-on-one.
If it was a competition, we would go for it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what you guys have the advantage of is like if one of you needed to use the restroom, you could just walk out and the other guy could take over. You guys got two of you. It's double the trouble. You know.
Yeah.
Curtis, if he was going one-on-one with me, also there's less talking going on, right? Because I ask a question, each of you guys answer it, right? You're only talking for half as much as someone that would go one-on-one.
Right. Totally.
Absolutely. Oh, Owen, what were you saying about you'd have to chat back and forth with Mosier?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was
I cut you off, so don't be sorry. That was my bad.
Anyways, Mosier chirped me a couple times. Sorry, more than a couple times. I believe the year I didn't do track, which was just my junior year season. Yeah. So I just didn't do track then because I was just focused on like getting college stuff done. And so he chirped me a lot because of that. And he was like, oh, well, like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm going to the gym. And he was like, oh, really? And yeah, you probably slow. And yeah, there's some chirps to get me going. We have good banter though. It's fun time.
Yeah. You know who I really want for the podcast? This is another person just like Mosier, class of 2014. You guys let me know what you think of this guest, Coach Molly McGill.
Oh, is that the field hockey coach?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know her too well.
I don't know.
Well, she was a D1 athlete. She played field hockey for Holy Cross. And she's like one of the youngest head coaches, probably in DS history, of like a really huge program that is like a state title contender. So
that's cool. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That could definitely be a good.
Holy Cross is D1.
Yeah, Holy Cross. It's in the Patriot League.
Are they strong D1? Like, are they?
No, like they're not Power 5. Like when I was looking to transfer, like I could have transferred to Holy Cross track and field. That would have been crazy.
Yeah, no, that would have actually been, you'd have.
But then I went to NC State and like no chance of being on the team. I've told this story a million times on the podcast, but I'll tell it again. I sent out an email to the throws coach here at NC State. And it was like a long soliloquy. I was like, I'm a hard worker. I've got so much potential in the weight room. I could make an impact at the ACC championship if you gave me time to develop. And then like this whole long novel I sent him. And then coach responded back, sorry, kid, this is a tough league. Sent for my iPhone. I knew my track career was over. That's how it was. Sent for my iPhone. No punctuation. Like,
I think that it's competitive these days.
Yeah, and now I'm interviewing some of the athletes. I interviewed the girl who got third at NCAAs, who's on the team here, and then there's 2 kids on the team that I have planned to do interviews with. It's weird. All of a sudden, it's kind of like when it rains, it pours. I didn't have a lot of NC State interviews, and then I wrote down on a piece of paper somewhere around here, there's like, I have like 8 or 9 athletes now that have agreed to do an interview, like the wrestling team, the gymnastics team, the track team.
That's great.
So I've got a lot on my plate. I'm also trying to do more podcasts. I'm trying to get really good, because I was telling Owen before the podcast, I've been chasing views for a while.
Yeah.
And I think I need to just get really good, because if I want a future where I could do some sort of sports journalism, I've got to get really good at interviewing people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's definitely huge. That's a huge trade, yeah.
And you've done a great job.
Yeah, you have. You're just so determined. Like, you just keep pumping them out, which is insane. This must be a huge process. I mean, like, the conversation part looks really fun, but I imagine the video editing, all that stuff, that must be tedious work. Like that, you definitely put in a lot of time behind the scenes.
Yeah, appreciate you saying that. And it gets a while. A big part of it is like waiting, like when the video processes. And it was worse like the first 20 podcasts. There'd be so many technical difficulties. I filmed an hour and a half with Tylen Mendez, and the footage got corrupted and it didn't work. And that was it was a really good podcast. We went deep and we talked about like really cool stuff. And it was like a really nice, well-rounded conversation about sports and life and everything. And then I just never was able to release it. And now it's more efficient, but there's still a lot of waiting, where I put out a podcast, I film a podcast, and then it has to get uploaded to iMovie, and then from iMovie to my desktop, and then from my desktop onto YouTube. And sometimes you'll have to be sitting there for like an hour and a half, just waiting for it all to do that. So that's another just process. And then you have to make the title and the tags and promote it on social media. But I love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah. But I mean,
did you guys ever do a podcast?
Have I ever done one?
No. Would you ever want to? Like, you create your own, talk about sports or whatever.
I was actually thinking about doing what you do. Like, I was like, I didn't know about you yet and your podcast, and I was thinking to myself, and then, like, I could just definitely see you doing this. So
yeah, I think you should, Owen. And that's one message I want to get out too, is like, anyone that is interested in this, I would be so like jacked up about that and like happy. I wouldn't be like, oh, Owen is like doing my thing, whatever. I'd be like, no, it's good, because you get people excited about sports podcasting, about the local sports going on. I do the same thing. Like, anyone that wants to do this, I 100% encourage, and I'll help out in any way I can.
Yeah, that's great, Dan. Also, I feel like when you and I were, this is kind of unrelated, but when we were like commentating for DS Cable, like you and I had like a great time on the muffs. You remember that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Funny.
Great time on the muffs.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah. And then there was kind of a stage where people realized how much fun DSC TV was, and too many people were trying to commentate.
Yes, I agree. I got it pretty popular. Like, people like Grady wanted to commentate. He actually commentated for one. Mike, the head guy, had to like cut out a bunch of the clips because Grady said some stuff. It was not,
really?
Yeah.
What did Grady say? Can you say, or is it too much?
I don't think I can. Probably not.
Could you like give me a rough idea?
He was like, I want to say he was like maybe making comments about like the other team. Like, honestly, Dan, I don't remember specifically, but he said
so, I don't want to get anyone in trouble either.
Because I was with him, like next to him while he said it, so I was kind of more focused on myself. But like as soon as like I didn't get to see the finished clip because Mike had already edited it out, and so I didn't get to hear it in the full extent. But all I know is that he had to edit it out, which probably meant he said some.
You ever been edited out, Owen, for wild?
I think maybe once or twice. Like I'm not bad. Sometimes the swear slips out. Not like an F-bomb, but like I mean sometimes we're biased for the Raiders. So like I kind of get a little pumped up behind the thing, you know, like I sometimes hurt the other team and like I get like
The rage
comes out. Like here, yeah, the rage gets involved a bit.
The rage. I remember like you were screaming. It was like you and Mika Gat were like, I was like up there talking to Brad or whoever, just saying hi, doing the rounds.
Yeah.
Little butterfly. And you guys, like the lacrosse team was up like 17-2. And every time DS scored, you guys would lose your shit and start screaming. And then like I guess everyone, like the parents are like looking up there and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, they like, yeah.
So my mom texted me. She was like, or no, she called me. She's like, "Are you up there screaming?" I was like, "No, I'm not up there screaming." She's like, "Well, like leave because people are looking." I was like, "Oh my God."
Jesus. Wow. Wait, so your mom was mad at the screaming?
No. She wasn't mad at the screaming. She thought I was gonna like embarrass myself because obviously I'm a coach and I'm an adult now and like shouldn't. Okay. That's not like I probably definitely would have done that when I was.
Yeah, no, I mean like that was a great game. I just didn't really care. I was like, I just love the Raiders so much. So,
does anyone love the Raiders more than you?
I'm in contention.
Who are the top Raiders? Who has the most school pride?
I think Johnny. Like, I think Johnny's up there. I think Luke Loeffler's up there. Jack, all of South Sherborn. Oh yeah, and all the Sherborn girls, soccer team. Charlie Perry. Oh, Charlie Perry.
Yeah, I am just so certain that John's gonna end up back in Dover-Sherborn.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, he really wants the house that we live in.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because my dad grew up in it, and then he bought it. He bought it from his siblings when his mom passed away. My grandma. So it's then like at some point when my parents are done living there, like I think John would want to come back and pull the same thing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, Dover-Sherborn is one of the only places like you know when people are like, oh, like that guy's a townie, like that, like they never did anything with their life. They're back home in their hometown. Like I feel like that's just not the case with DS because if you end up back in DS, it's almost like you've succeeded.
Yeah,
I agree.
You can buy a house here.
Like you're living a good life.
Yeah. Would you guys want to come back to DS or no?
I've thought about it. I would have no problem coming back. I think it would be a lot of fun, but I wouldn't mind living in like some suburb of Boston, but I definitely think I want to be close to Boston just because it feels like home.
Yeah, the East Coast is great. I don't think I'll leave the East Coast.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of people. They like. Have you guys done senior superlatives?
No, not yet.
Yeah, there's one that's like most likely to never leave DS, and then most likely to never come back to DS. And it's very clear who is who.
What did you win, Danny? What did they vote you?
I got most outrageous, most politically active, most likely to be the president, and biggest jokester.
Those are good ones.
Solid lineup.
Actually, Danny, I want to make the graduation speech.
Oh, there you go.
And I actually talked to Keegan about it. And did you get elected, or they just let you do it?
Oh, I was class president.
Okay, so you do it. Do you know the process?
So if you want to just independently like do one?
Yeah, like Serena Ryan.
Yeah, so at the end of the year, or maybe like middle, like I don't know, a few months out from graduation, 2 or 3 months, they'll send something out and it's the English department, I think. And what they do is they say, write a speech and submit it. And then we're going to take like, I think it's the top 3 speeches, and whoever want to like make a speech, and then they can make a speech. And honestly, it's not super competitive. Like 5 people usually apply, 5, 6 people, and the 3 best speeches win. And I think I feel like the class president speech, because the kids to get elected class president and stay class president by senior year have usually had to make a few speeches and then get voted on. So I feel like they're usually at least solid. Like those aren't the ones that bomb. The kids that write in to electively do speeches are either like really good or really bad, in my opinion. They really do well or they really bomb.
Yeah.
It's fun though. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah. How did you like write it? Like, what did you kind of talk about? Wait, is your speech recorded anywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be on DSC TV somewhere.
I would like to listen to that.
Imagine if you just wrote down everything I said.
Said it again.
And thank you to Johnny and Carol. I was like, oh no, never mind. Process for me was actually tricky. I remember because I didn't have to submit one, but I didn't have the same date. So Mr. Smith was like, yeah, submit your speech. And then I like missed the deadline, right? Because I was like, I need the perfect speech. And it was hard to come up with the idea. And I had done like 1 or 2 brainstorming sessions and they didn't work. And then it was like the weekend when I absolutely had to get it done.
Yeah.
Like that Saturday, I went to the Dover Library and I said, I'm going to write my whole speech. And I sat there for a few hours and I didn't come up with anything good. And I went back to my house and I was sitting on the sun porch and I said, okay, like, what do I want my speech to really be about? I'm like, well, it should be about Dover-Sherborn, and it shouldn't be about me because I'm class president. It's not really supposed to be about me. That would be a silly speech. And so I was like, all right, it's going to be about Dover-Sherborn. Write down everything you think about Dover-Sherborn, what represents Dover-Sherborn, and then figure out how they connect. So I wrote down a bunch of like things. Some were like humorous. I wrote down like rail trail, and then I wrote down like academic excellence, and I wrote down all these things. And eventually I came up with this speech that I think really like nicely weaved together all the things and showed how they were connected. And the point of my speech was that we're a town that is a little bit volatile. There's a lot of disagreement. There's bullshit on next door Sherborn about, you know, who's the best painter. I said stuff like that. I said there's arguments over a rail trail and if it's going to cause more crime to have a bike path through Dover. There's a whole lot of stuff that we disagree about. But the one thing we can agree about is that we made the right decision to make this regional school system and dedicate it to excellence. So on the day of graduation, it would be good if everyone just appreciated all the people that made it awesome, and like the teachers and the bus drivers and the police officers and the administrators. And if we could just recognize that and then renew our vow as a regional school system to commit ourselves to certain things, that would be awesome. And I think that was the gist of it.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know how
you can whip something up with that.
Better. That's good. Yeah. What?
Yeah. Fuck me up.
Yeah. I got to make a good one. I got to beat you.
Yeah.
I'm probably I got to start early. Like, I got to start brainstorming early to give myself time.
Yeah. Don't start with a Webster's. Just don't be cliche, man.
No.
Don't start with a Webster's dictionary fucking definition.
I would go to
what does integrity mean to me? And like some shit. Like, don't do that.
I wouldn't do that. I would just go to the Natick waterfalls and just like sit there and just wait for ideas.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun too, I feel like. And it's a good way, if you can really come up with some thoughts, it's a good way to say goodbye to DS. Because I got this eerie feeling at graduation where I was like, holy shit, this is the last time all these people are gonna be here together. Because there's sure reunions, but I was like, a lot of these kids are not coming back to the reunion. So you get that weird feeling like, man, this is really it. And then people start walking away into the parking lot, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. Your dad, jeez.
We got 6 more months. Oh wait, no,
it's still not a lot. I feel like I can do a good job, like saying thank you to school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's given me a lot.
Yeah, and if you're just honest too, I think people really respond to authenticity. And I think you would be good for it because you're funny and sociable, and I think would be able to handle the crowd.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing too. When I was like looking out, like I still have vivid memories, like looking at Mr. Clancy and thinking, like, as I'm making the speech, I was like, that's my fucking elementary school basketball coach. Looking at Rick Thompson, I'm like, that's the chief of police in Sherborn. Like, just crazy stuff.
That'd be nerve-wracking. Yeah, but
Dude,
you're right. Like,
the ultimate pro move, and this is, I don't understand why more people don't do this. It's not crazy. Listen, I'm like, I was like, had one of the worst GPAs at Dover-Sherborn. I'm not some sort of genius. Read your speech over a bunch of times, say it out loud a bunch of times, get just the exact points. You don't have to have it verbatim, and then go up without a piece of paper. Because if you just talk to the people, it'll go so much better than if you read off a piece of paper like they're little kids.
yeah, when kids do that, it's just speak. Like, yeah, I speak from the heart. I go by that. I like never prepare like for interviews. I'm just like, let's just talk.
Yeah. And but then you got to make sure you're able to do it. I had one moment, and it's funny, I could watch it back and probably find it after. I was like, oh my God, did people notice? And everyone's like, what are you talking about? I had appeared in the speech where for like 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, I forgot what the next part of my speech was. And I said in my head, I said the words out loud in my head, oh shit, I've done it. I really forgot the speech. And I came up here without paper. And then just as I was like going to get to the point where people were noticing that I took too long of a pause, like bam, the next word came into my head.
Oh, what was the next part?
I don't know. It was whatever was next in the like progression of my speech.
That's a scary moment though.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, but I believe you, Danny. I knew that was gonna happen.
You believe? Were you guys there?
No,
probably not. I mean, you were freshmen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not there. I don't think you were.
I probably wasn't.
Yeah, that's, absolutely. All right, well, we've definitely beat the record now. We're an hour and 53 minutes in.
Good work.
That's a monster podcast. How's the fantasy teams doing today?
That's a good point. Let me check.
Now the 4:00 game's been going for a while.
Yeah, they're all at halftime.
Chris Jeremiah can catch these hands. He's getting beat up right now. We're both 3-3, so this is playoff implications.
Yeah. Team's looking pretty good. 70% chance to win right now.
Do you use Sleeper? What are you on? ESPN?
Not ESPN. Do you use Sleeper?
Yeah, I didn't like it at first. My friends got on it, and I was like, oh, man, but I actually like it a lot now.
Good, yeah. Interesting.
Just took a minute to, learn essentially how everything looked.
Yeah.
What's your team look like? Who are some of your stars?
Me?
Yeah, how many teams do you have, too?
So our most competitive league's a 10-team league. And it's PPR. I have Stafford and Cooper Kupp, which has been a dominant duo.
Yeah, I got Stafford too, man.
Nice. Yeah, he's Pat Stadford. That's what I call him.
Pat Stafford.
Pat Stadford. Pat Stats, But anyways, him, Cooper Kupp, McCaffrey is hurt. Joe Mixon, Hawkinson, pretty good team.
Why did you trust CMC? I didn't draft him because I thought he was going to get hurt. I feel like he's fragile.
I had the first pick, and I wouldn't have been able to live with myself if he was healthy.
That's a good point. There must have been pressure, and he started out with ridiculous amount of points.
Oh yeah, he's insane. But yeah, he can't stay out of the DR, so we'll see.
Yeah, and Owen, do you partake in fantasy?
Yeah, I do, Danny. Actually, I do. Jack helped me make my team. We sat together on draft day for 2.5 hours and did this.
It was an intense one.
Wow, intensive.
I don't think my record's good though.
2-4.
2-4. So Owen was telling me before the podcast, I think you said that it's you and Jack, but maybe it was you and someone else, that you guys always talk about the Joe Rogan experience.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, we listen.
Why do you guys break it down for the people? Why do you like Joe Rogan so much?
I love the way he thinks. He just really thinks in a contrarian way.
He does.
And my favorite episode is definitely the ones where he's brought Elon Musk on.
Yeah, I was talking about that too.
I think Elon Musk is just like, he's such an interesting guy. He just thinks in a completely different way than everyone else. It's like it's really cool just to kind of like experience some time with him, because it really changes the way you go about life and the way you think.
Yeah.
He also asks just like really good questions.
Yeah.
Like,
and I've noticed actually a lot
he
of
asks like specific questions. Like he like understands the concept, and then he asks like specific questions, and he gets like really involved, and then he kind of shows the guest that he's like really involved in what they're talking about. And because not only does it make it interesting, it also makes the guest feel like appreciated for like what the reason they're on the podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the other thing too. He is a stand-up comedian, so he's really funny and interesting. But then he's also a really smart guy, not in an arrogant way. Like he's a regular guy, and that's kind of why I feel like I can relate to him. I'm like, he's not like he's this like super rich guy and everything, but he grew up in like, he went to Newton South, I want to say, or Newton North. He actually grew up, his family was on food stamps for a while when he was a kid. Like he's a super down-to-earth guy. He commentates like UFC. And I feel like I learn a lot from his podcast. And I do think he's a person with, you know, a lot of opinions, but it comes from a place where he's trying to be reasonable. And it's also, he's got opinions that are both like conservative and liberal. I think a lot of people like to say like, oh, he's this far right guy, but he actually endorsed Bernie Sanders in the last election. So I think he's got reasonable views on both sides. And that's part of why I like him too, is he's not, I don't think, completely ideologically driven.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
He brings on guests from like way different sides of the political spectrum too.
Yeah, makes it more interesting.
I like the Sober October episodes he does with Ari Shaffir, Bert Kreischer, and Tom Segura. I just think those ones are so funny too.
Yeah, those are good.
What other episodes do you like from Joe?
Joey Diaz?
No, just Joe Rogan. But Joey Diaz, he's a funny dude too.
No. Joey Diaz is on one of his podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really, really good episode. Like, really good.
Yeah, fucking absolutely. That's why I'd say Joe Rogan is probably who I model myself after most. And I think a lot of people, his style is out there where you just try to talk to people that you find interesting and that you find, you know, fascinating and stuff like that. Do you guys listen to any other podcasts besides Young Shakespeare every time I release a new episode?
I do, yeah. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to the Bill Simmons podcast. I don't know if you know Bill Simmons and the Ringer Sports.
No, what's that one all about?
So he's this Boston guy. I think he's like 53, maybe. He's middle-aged. And he's built this massive sports like podcast company, and he sold it to Spotify recently for a lot of money. But he runs a bunch of podcasts, and then he has like all these different other smaller like sub podcasts that he hires people to run. And he's very good in the way like he does his business, but he's also just so entertaining. Like I'll find myself listening to him about stuff I don't even care about, but it's just nice to like listen to him and just like think about how he's thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's this guy I saw on TikTok today, No Jumper podcast. Have you guys heard of that one? It's one of the biggest, got like millions of followers. He has crazy guests on. This guy, Adam22. Sorry, say again.
That's not JJ Redick's podcast, is it?
No. Oh, really? Yeah, some of these athletes, man, are getting in on it too. But he got a gun pulled on him in the middle of his stream.
Oh,
really? Like an actual gun. And then the guy didn't shoot him. And then someone went and knocked the guy out. And then they called the police on stream. Is No Jumper podcast. Adam22 is the guy's name. Anyone can like look him up and see the footage. Like just crazy. And then they called the police and the guy got charged.
Wait, wow. Who pulled the gun on?
Some guy that had an issue with him. He just rolled up to his studio, pulled a gun on him.
That's crazy. Yeah,
absolutely. So are people Has anyone in the class of 22 decided where they're going to college yet?
Yeah, we have a couple commits.
Yeah, we do. Henry Murphy.
Yeah, Henry.
Billy Bowen.
Derek Roman. Ethan Lynch. Abby DeSalvo recently.
Rachel Harman has already been committed.
Yeah, she's been done for a while.
Lauren Root's committed.
Lauren Root.
Yeah, she is.
Avia Blonsky's committed. Yeah, we've got a good group of athletes committed.
Are you guys thinking about playing college golf or baseball or anything?
No, not really. I mean, like definitely, like something club or intramural would be a lot of fun. But
yeah,
I want to try and walk on wherever I go. Because I think like if I go to a school with like like for example, I'm looking at Lafayette and they're D1, but they're not a great D1.
Yeah.
And like their scores, like I talked to their coach, and their scores are like in my wheelhouse of like shootability kind of, so I would just like strictly just want to do it for fun. So if I go to that school, and I'm like playing good on the club team, like I could possibly have the chance to walk on, which would be like that would be great.
That's insane. Yeah, I did the college sports thing for 2 years. And now I do club rugby at NC State, which is so much fun. It's so much fun. And I think it is like a worthwhile thing, and you meet a lot of friends. You don't even necessarily need to be like some fucking amazing athlete to just go do a club sport that you love. So I definitely recommend doing clubs for anyone going to college. Yeah. And there's like a million sports to do at like a big college.
You gotta start it. I was looking at my phone. My mom texted me.
Your mom texted you?
Yeah, I think we might have to wrap it up like somewhat soon or now, because I'm at the Potters like 6 hours.
At 6:15. Or I have to leave at 6:05.
Yeah, that's fair. So I mean, we've absolutely smashed the record. I believe I got 57 left on this, and I set it for 3 hours, not thinking that we do 3 hours, but thinking it would give us like I could just see where we're at. So that means we were like over 2 hours into the podcast.
I'm so honored that we're like at that like tier.
Yeah. I think I would love to sit down, and I don't know who it would be. I think Joseph Collins, he's one of my best friends. I think me and him could do like a 4 or 5 hour podcast and just talk about MMA and UFC and stuff.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Dan, have you ever considered putting your podcasts on Spotify?
Yeah, I actually did that once. The thing I don't like is it siphons off the views. So like, let's say I'm trying to get a D1 athlete to come on and they go look at my stuff. Like if I push some of my viewers to Spotify and some to YouTube, it looks like I'm getting half as much views. And Spotify doesn't publicly show how many views you get. And what you have to do is use this thing called an RSS feed. So you upload it to your audio and video to a website that then converts it to an RSS feed and like posts it up somewhere and then decides where it can go. And so if you put it on Spotify, you can actually see and control what views you get. I wanted to talk to my friend Luke Martiros. He graduated DS in 2017. He does a podcast too, and he puts it on Spotify because maybe there's a way to do it where you can see the views and get more managerial control, but it kind of looks like you just throw it up there. I've definitely thought about it, but I really like the YouTube game, and that's where my is at right now. Yeah, there are big podcasts on YouTube, like Logan Paul's podcast and Joe Rogan before.
I watched Logan Paul's. He's a good podcast.
Yeah, I really like his Impulsive. You know what I noticed now? I use the word impulsive so infrequently, and I see his podcast so often in my feed that sometimes when I'm typing out, like I'm texting the word impulsive, I type out impulsive.
Yeah.
Wow.
I say that's pretty fun.
Yeah, he screwed me.
Yeah.
Well, he's a great podcaster though, and he has really cool people on the podcast.
That Mike Tyson one's crazy.
He keeps it real too. I feel like he says controversial stuff.
They've had Jordan Belfort.
And
I think he's been on a lot of podcasts recently. But
I really like the Nelk guys, especially their prank videos. I like a lot of the pranks they do. I think it's really funny. Some of the hosts they have on the Full Send podcast, just from my own experience asking questions, they do a terrible job. They basically just look up what's the biggest story that's ever happened with this person. So they have access to these huge people. And then they'll just be like, oh, Shaq, like, tell me about like your beef with Kobe. Or they'll be like, hey, Jordan Belfort, you're like a convicted felon. Like, that's how they'll start the podcast. And like Dennis Rodman, they're like, what do you think of like Kim Jong-un's policies? And they just like so quickly alienate the guest. And I'm like, that's just not at all how you go about it. And also, what's the point of having someone famous on to just ask them questions that they've gotten before? Use the opportunity to ask a new question.
The challenge, making sure they're true like thoughts. They've said that all the time their whole lives.
It's just that they can get like famous people, which is why it's interesting to watch.
Yeah, if they can be more insightful, it would be really interesting because they already have the credibility to draw.
So Owen, when you have to go home now?
Yeah, Danny. Unfortunately, that is what has to happen.
That's fine that you don't have enough stamina to.
Well, it's my.
You don't have to make up texts from your mom.
No, Danny. I actually
show them to the video.
Yeah, show. It's just like a bunch of embarrassing stuff.
No, we can't show you our text, but know that she says.
She could have texted me, man. I don't even know. But,
no, you don't have her number.
That's what you think.
That's good.
Anyways, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys, setting a new podcast length record. I hope you guys. What day are you playing States?
Tuesday.
Yeah, but it's gonna rain. So it might get canceled.
Really? Well, when it happens, I wish you the absolute best of luck. I'm really pulling for you guys, and I'll have Curtis on after to talk about how it went. Good luck with everything, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, don't X out. Don't X out.
Okay.
Yeah. I gotta sign us off. Thanks so much. There we go, Dalton. 2 hours in. 2 hours in. I'm signing off now. Now I'm in the back row.
Hey, Dalton.
Yeah. The boys say what's up, Dalton. You want to come on the podcast? Say hi?
I'll just say hello and then leave.
There we go. All right. Thanks so much to everyone for watching this episode of the Young Shakespeare podcast. Please subscribe and tune in for more episodes.